Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. We're live in studio, as you know, every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock till 8. Smoking Jim just made it in. There was so much never mind, folks. This is live. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip the Prophet Hayner. Smoking Jim Frazier, who is never late, is in the house. Zach Brenner was here on time also. And this is our show. Pittsburgh Sportsline. We're going to talk a lot of sports. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32, everywhere in the Pittsburgh area. Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Of course, YouTube 24/7. It's posted up every day. And I do have some bad news about our show yesterday. We had one of the greatest shows at Sip Sports Bar. And due to some technical difficulties, all 18 guests and all the things we did was lost. And it's not going to be posted up because it's gone. Just disappeared. So that show won't be on, and everybody will be contacted that was on there, and we'll try to get them back. They had open invites, and we'll talk about that in the Sip Sports Bar segment. I'm disappointed like everybody else, and those things happen. That's the second time it happened to us. Once it happened over a year or so ago, and this is the second one. But this show's live. We've got a lot of great stuff out here, a lot of sports to talk about, and we're going to start this off with our first segment with What's on Our Mind. Little Z, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, I'm going to tell you folks at home what's on my mind. And what's on my mind is this defensive end from the University of Missouri that came out of the closet a couple days ago. And what I think is going to happen with him is, and we have an NFL scout here to my right, I think it's actually going to end up costing him money, and he may actually never, ever play it down in the National Football League, all because of all this stigma that's going to follow him everywhere he goes. And I'm not telling anybody to stay in the closet. All I'm simply saying is that when it's a predominant male contact sport and one of the hardest hitting contact sports, and you have all these gentlemen in the locker room and in the shower, it can become quite a distraction. And if we learn anything from some other shower incidents, it's that you need to be very careful at what happens in the shower, and especially in locker rooms. And as we got Joey Porter brought in to the Steelers today to be a coach, it's very interesting to see what will play out in locker rooms around the other 32 teams in the league when it comes time to draft this young fellow. I'm not discouraging anybody from drafting him. All I'm simply saying is, like some other circus acts that came around and followed, it's just a distraction that really, like, nobody really needed to deal with at this point. And I wish them all the best, but I just think that some things are better left in the closet.
Thanks, Little Z. Again, these are the opinions of our hosts and co-hosts here, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, but America's been changed for a long time. Whatever your opinions are, we are in the land of the free here. It's just, I don't like to hear about that like you do all the time, but I respect a lot of people out there, and these things happen in life, and anytime you talk about the first in something, then it gets sensationalized, and I think that's what you have happening. And if you're a good player, whatever sport it is, whatever you prefer, men, women, or etc., whether we agree or disagree, we're talking about games here, playing games. So how serious is that? We talk sports all the time. That's just my little philosophy on it. Let's move on with Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine, and I'm sure we're going to revisit Little Z's.
Oh, we have that segment lined up here. Let me pull that up. But, oh, yeah, we have that here. Thanks.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to revisit because, a great segment that Little Z loves is This Week in Black History. In 1978, Leon Spinks took the heavyweight title off of Muhammad Ali, and that's This Week in Black History.
Hold it, I got to interrupt you on Black History. Here's an announcement. I never get to say these things. These guys scoop me all the time. Guess what happened today? February 11th, 1990 in Black History Month.
February 11th.
Yes.
Somebody graduated from Gateway.
The suspense is killing everybody out there. Somebody shocked the world. If you would have looked at Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook, you would have saw Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson for the heavyweight title.
Oh, yeah.
In 1991.
90.
1990. Yeah.
I didn't
I
stutter.
thought you said 2011.
I didn't stutter, buddy.
Okay, I thought you-
February 11th.
Oh, February 11th.
You know what?
We
These
got
hearing
the
aids
meat.
that I have,
We
these
got the
hearing
meat buster,
aids, I'm
Douglas.
throwing them out.
We got the meat buster, Douglas.
But there's my, breaking news on Black
And you got
History.
to watch
Thank
Buster
you.
Douglas's 12-0 boy get busted out.
We'll revisit that since you brought that one up. Go ahead, Smokey
what's
Jim.
on
Didn't
my-
mean to interrupt you. Get to your point there.
What's on my mind is actually the same thing that Chip had and Little Z had is Michael Sam. And I'm coming from a slightly different perspective. This is a guy who felt that it was necessary to come out to say that he was openly gay prior to the NFL combines and prior to the NFL draft. And my only thing is this, and I think that one thing that I don't like about the media, and I'm part of the media being that I have a press pass, is that I don't like when when you have a lot of anonymous sources. You know, I like to drop names, but when the general manager or executives in the National Football League say that the kid may not go as high as he was because it's going to be a media circus, whether this guy is the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. So whether he goes in the first round or he's a walk-on, it's going to be a media circus. You're going to have people coming out of you're going to have media guys coming out of the closet per se, no pun intended. But the problem that I have with it is that in training camp, you have 6 weeks of training camp and you're assigned a roommate. And the one thing that people don't fail to realize is the one thing that is not politically correct in sports, and we've all played sports, is the locker room. And I don't feel as bad for Sam's.
Could we pull that camera back a little? We're
as
too
I
close
feel-
on these guys, and you're cutting his head off. This is live TV, folks.
As I feel bad for his roommate.
Pull that back a
because
little.
his roommate in training camp is going to take a lot of abuse in the locker room. And it's going to be pretty bad.
You think so?
Yeah, and
right.
and you know what the thing is too is that people have to realize too is that you have to realize that the shower area is going to be very uncomfortable. Not to say, but these are things that should have been thought of before, because I'm sure this is not the first gay athlete to play professional sports. Maybe the first to ever play football. But that's what you have to look at. And lastly is that you have to be considerate of their significant other. I'm not married and I love women, but if I was married and you put Beyonce in my room for 6 weeks of training camp, my wife would know that I'm gonna try something that sooner or later, there'll be a Teddy Pendergrass marathon one of those days coming out of my room. But that's what's on my mind. Good luck to Sam's and Michael Sam's.
Again, my disclaimer, these are the opinions of the guys here. I didn't think it would be going this deep on this, folks. We do talk sports, and it's all over the media. And you can see how 2 out of 2 already talked about Sam's. And actually, I get a little assist there since I was 3 out of 3. So that's where we're at. We're going to continue with this.
Hey, I hate
We're
that.
going to revisit.
Hold on, I don't want to revisit, but I thought Magic Johnson was the first openly gay professional athlete in sports.
Insensitivity. We're going to move forward.
Maybe a son.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're off the mark on that one. Sorry, buddy. You missed the 3-pointer.
Basketball wasn't my sport.
I could tell, just like baseball. But Chip, the Prophet Hayner, it took a while. What's on your mind?
Thanks, guys. And what's on my mind this evening, even though I will, revisit the topics that my esteemed colleagues to my left have approached this evening, is not Michael Sam's. On a different note, my mind is going a little further south here, going down to Florida.
Oh,
Bradenton, tomorrow the pitchers and catchers report.
Wow.
Okay.
finally.
And I know we're going to have a segment later in the show. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Pirates, and I'll get more in depth into some of the things. But this is one of the things that has me intrigued about this season, and very much looking forward to what's going to unfold over the next 8 months with the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, the Pittsburgh Pirates have a business plan, so to speak, in place. They know how they want to proceed moving it forward with the franchise, and you know, they felt that it was not in the organization's best interest to invest a lot of money in overpriced and underperforming free agents, which was the mantra of the previous regime. You know, for the 20 years that the Pirates were miserable failures, and let's look at it for what it is. One of the things that they were consistent with was they would overpay free agents at the end of their careers and get very little production out of them, and then be stuck paying off these contracts. And you know, one of the things that's really got me intrigued and very much excited about the Pirates this year is the fact that, you know, the baseball writers of America and all of the people that you know, analyze the minor league systems say that the Pirates have the #1 minor league system in all of baseball. So the money that they've been investing for the last 4 or 5 years haven't been investing it on the major league level, but they've been investing it on the minor league level, will start bearing fruit, and that will start bearing fruit this year. We didn't overpay Marlon Byrd to play right field for us because we have an athlete who is of equivalent talent that they say to Andrew McCutchen, ready to play right field. He may not make it up there to start the season, but he will be there before the end of the season. Yeah, you know, we're still kind of up in the air about A.J. Burnett. Is he going to sign with the Pirates? Is he going to sign with the Phillies? And I hear those are the two teams right now that are battling.
What about Baltimore?
From what I understand, it's the Phillies and the Pirates are the two that he's negotiating with right now. And, you know, we've got a pitcher in the minor leagues who last year made huge strides, Jameson Taillon. And here's a kid that's, you know, got a lot of tools. They're working on some things with him. He'll be up by June or July. So there's a lot of things going on with the organization that I think really are going to benefit it, not so much this year, but even more moving down the road. And I do believe the Pirates are going to have a successful season. Again, they're going to be above 500, and I have said it here, and I will say it again, Central Division champs.
Wow, there you have it, folks. That's what's on his mind. Now, what's on my mind is the Olympics. I'm interested in the Olympics. We only have 7 medals. The leader only has 11, so we're still in the running here. It's early in it. I can't wait to see the hockey. I want to see more of the skiing. The ice skating, I'm not too cool on watching the ice skating and the performances there. I don't know about you guys, but I do like watching the Winter Olympics and seeing all the training and the athletes that are out there and just how they perform. 4 years of dedication. How many people can do that? And then some of these ladies and guys, this is their 3rd and 4th Olympics, just for that. Now, I am disappointed that they're in Russia. They spent $52 billion to do that, and one of the circles was out. So, I mean, how can you have that? 4 out of 5? That's not a good deal with the Olympics.
Rumor has it that guy in charge of that was found dead in his hotel room.
So there's rumors on that, from 100 stabs to other things. But again, you're talking Russia. That's a dictatorship. Look at China was in charge of it last time. Why couldn't they go to Austria or somewhere else, and you'd have a lot better resorts and resources and everything else, and you wouldn't have to put up with that putting Putin there. I mean, and all his nonsense there. So that's what's on my mind, because we always have subjects here that are controversial. Now we'll get right into that. Let's revisit what's on our minds.
Well, just to speak before we get into the other subject, you know, it would have been nice if they had the Winter Olympics in a city where it was winter. Okay, it's going to be 68 degrees in Sochi tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay, how do you have Winter Olympics and tropical climates?
That was part of my point. With Austria would have been a better choice.
Yeah, anywhere that
for Winter Olympics.
Nome, Alaska would have been a better choice, or something like that.
Except people couldn't get.
But to speak to the issue with Michael Samms, you know, I honestly believe that I don't believe that he hurt himself at all. Right now, this is a big story. Everybody's talking about it. But guess what? A week from now, nobody's going to care about it because it's already news. What they did was they blew up the bomb. It's not going to go off again. You know, people are just going to have to deal with it. What people are going to have to realize is that, you know, you're playing in the NFL. You're playing in corporate America. And I don't know how many of us have worked in corporate America, I have. I was a hiring manager for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and there were strict rules that had to be followed by the behavior of everybody that worked there. You had to be very careful about what you said, what you inferred, things that you did, because anything that gets back that a person says makes them feel like they are in a hostile work environment, you can get terminated for, and with extreme prejudice. So, I mean, we know about locker room humor and everything like that. And, look what Jonathan Martin did to Richie Incognito. Now, Richie Incognito is not...
Richie Incognito did it to Jonathan Martin.
What Jonathan Martin did. Because what he did was he made a victim of Richie Incognito by claiming something that didn't happen, because he was every bit as much at fault for the same things he accused Richie Incognito of. And, now he's trying to say, well, because of the way he treated me. Well, you did the exact same things. So the pot can't call the kettle black, So, yes, I did state that correctly. Jonathan Martin made a victim of Richie Incognito. Now, Richie Incognito was rude, he was crude, he was obnoxious, and he was way out of line. But you know what? If you're playing along with that same behavior, how can you sit there and accuse somebody of impropriety when you're doing the same thing?
Well, that's a great point, Chip. We got to realize that they'll never clean up locker room humor, shower humor. Rookies are going to take abuse, regardless of your sexual preferences. There were some guys like a Jack Lambert and some other guys that would not speak to rookies, would not even call their names for a whole year. The hazing is going on, and it's going to be an abusive situation. And this guy now is a public figure. And the jokes is going to fly freely. He may walk away from the game, but he may be tough enough to hang in there. But the whole thing is, from an NFL scout standpoint, I'm not sure if he's an NFL player. He's a tweener. He's had one good season. I haven't broken down all the film on him yet to put a grade on him yet. But I love the kid that's on the other side. That played Ely, that played on the other side. I think that he's going to be as good as the freak from South Carolina. I think he's just as good as Clowney. But
those are good points.
Whether or not
the real question is how many days till the Steelers report in Latrobe is the real question.
No, not yet.
Kidding.
But on his point there,
I love the
he was
Buccos.
talking about a local guy with his weak sack total. This guy has 11.5 sacks. He had 9 in 3 games. I didn't mention any name. We're not talking Pitt yet. But Smoking Jim pointed out that he thought, gentleman here that's worked hard, his sack total was weak. Now this guy, Sams, has 11.5, 9 in 3 games against, from other NFL scouts, some were anonymous, they said it was against weak competition. So he's suspect there. His size is suspect.
So he's going to have to convert to linebacker in the
if he
NFL.
can even do it. And then in the Senior Bowl, he didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So now he was exposed, no pun intended, on
Do you
anything.
think, before Chip gets in it, do you think
San
there's
Francisco?
a possibility?
A what?
Do you think there's a possibility that, listen, the guy struggled in the Senior Bowl. He's a tweener right now. Do you think his agent says, hey, listen, you may not make the National Football League, especially as a 5th-round draft choice. Why don't you come out and guarantee yourself
That's what
an
that's
opportunity
where I was
to
going to
play
go.
in the league?
Yeah, but
Do
you got to
think
get
this is-
deep. Here,
Huh?
go deeper than that, because I've already, I'm a deep thinker. Go deeper. What did he do in August?
He announced.
What did he do to his
announced it.
teammates?
But that's different.
Hold it.
That's a big difference.
To his teammates. Now, how many players are on the team?
Yes, yeah. It was out
Not
already.
everybody keeps a secret, Smoking Jim.
But see, what I'm saying is they knew. He was getting questioned. Matter of fact, the
Before.
scouts were already, the NFL was already going back to Missouri talking to people. So the inside people knew. So there was what I'm saying
My
is this.
point is the people in the know already know
They
this stuff.
already
It's
knew.
too late.
But what I'm saying is, since the NFL already knew, the inside people already knew that he was a proud black gay man, right, as he put it. Now, if I'm his agent, I'll come out and say, hey, listen, I can guarantee you a signing bonus and a couple years in the league because there's nobody that's going to cut you now because now you're big.
I
Nobody heard of
disagree.
this. Nobody heard of this kid.
Somebody has to draft him and sign him.
Go make your point. Go ahead.
Because
We got a
this is
great
actually-
discussion.
this is-
Call in 412-831-3304. Yeah.
Okay, now, the point
Not
is,
usually.
it's a stroke of genius by this
Stroke
player.
of- stroke of genius.
because
Yes, it
look,
is.
Look at this. Here's a guy that may or may not have gotten drafted. He may or may not.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's about guaranteed himself to be drafted because if he is not drafted,
I disagree
his
with
agent's
you.
going
I
to come
agree.
out. I guarantee you, his
I
agent's
got
going to
you.
come out and
Right,
say
Chip.
it's because he's gay.
That's
and,
it.
And the NFL is not going to put up with a black mark like that. Somebody will draft
They'll
him.
guys-
be picking.
you
They'll
guys-
be picking in the
If
NFL.
anybody
way.
listens to this show and listens to an
No
NFL
way.
scout, you have an NFL scout
way.
gave his assessment of what this player is. Every GM has an out right now because of his size and his play.
Correct.
So all his media thing did, it helped promote his agent, and it gave him some publicity.
I
Who
agree
is his
with you.
agent, Drew Rosenhaus?
I
Don't
disagree
forget, don't
with you
forget.
two.
A lot
No
of people
way.
don't know Roger Goodell.
Is gay?
Brother is gay, and Roger Goodell's going to fight for this kid
Well, then he's in the league.
because
then.
they supposedly.
He may not even get
He
drafted.
doesn't even need
I
to
think,
be
has
I
to
think
now.
he, I
SEC
think
I think
player
he's
of the
going to
year.
play for the
Defensive player of the year.
49ers.
based on his play in college, he's earned the right to try out for the
Yeah.
NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? He
He's gonna
makes
make
it
it.
or he doesn't make it
He's gonna
based
make it.
on his ability to play football and
He's
nothing
gonna,
else.
And he's going to make it now because of the social media. They're afraid. They're going to be afraid to cut him.
I know GMs. You know a GM right here in Pittsburgh. The kid can't play. He doesn't have the talent. We picked the best available athlete.
Look what
It's
Chris-
ingrained
Chris
in all
Carter
of us.
for the Steelers better hope the Steelers don't draft him
Look
because
how the
they're going to
NFL
make somebody's
has
going
gone
to
out of
make
its
it.
way to avoid potential lawsuits, and that's what
right.
they got laying.
Well,
right
on
there.
your point about working for $1 billion company, Smoking Jim worked for one about 100 times that or more. So he knows about it. He just gets silly about some of this stuff because he has locker room humor. I work for a multi-million-dollar company. I was in a Chief will tell you, he watches the show. I was in a position with men and women in the workplace, and I had to tell people you're beyond the border of insubordination and sexual harassment. And it comes under all kind of things like Chip's talking about, where if you feel uncomfortable, like I feel uncomfortable with Smoking Jim. So he could get banned or I could have a suit against him because of what he's insinuating. He's insinuating that all the GMs in football are stupid and they're going to bow down to social media because I'm going to text, you must draft Sams. Now, you two can have your opinion. I disagree. I don't always disagree.
What
but
are you
this time-
disagreeing with?
Well, they say he has to get drafted.
I didn't say that. I said
I
I,
said
don't think
those
he's going
two.
to get drafted. I think
Oh,
he's,
you're getting defensive, young man.
I think
I
they're
said
gonna-
these two. I disagree with
Has
these
the,
two.
I just wanted you
has the SEC Defensive Player of the Year ever not gone undrafted? Now, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year last year?
Jarvis Jones.
There you go, first round draft.
And you were
Listen, and
totally
Jarvis
against it because
Jones
he's
Yeah.
was a
suspect.
beast
Yeah,
in
you're right.
My
college.
thing is, other people like you are going to say he's suspect. This will be the first guy from the SEC Defensive Player of the Year not drafted.
Yeah, and since when does being an SEC Player of the Year on
2014.
defense mean anything?
He told you
Jeez.
every
It's the
year.
best conference.
Jeez, it's the best conference.
Best conference in football. But I think we beat this subject about as much as
think?
we're going
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, but we
I
got
mean,
other
Breaking news in the
revisitations.
Olympics.
Me and Chip agree.
In the
so we have to be,
Olympics.
the prophet and I agree. So you got to be
So, you
fact.
know,
That's why I disagree.
And the-
And, you know
Speaking
what?
on-
and it's okay. We can agree to disagree.
Speaking
we're all
on-
entitled to
We
our
are.
own opinions.
We
It's-
are.
Speaking on the Olympics, this just in, the Flying Tomato, Sean White has finished fourth in snowboarding and will
late.
not win a medal this year for
Will not
Team
win his
USA.
third
Hold it,
gold
you're
medal.
late. I
medal.
had an Olympics segment. Sean White, this was like 12 hours ago. Sorry.
Hey, some of us have to work.
There's the news flash. The Americans have no wins in curling. Somebody's going to have to talk me off the ledge when we get done with the show tonight. I'm completely distraught.
I can't even follow where we're at here. Any more revisitation there? Anything else? I don't even know what you guys talked about except for Sam's. Well, we covered that.
Okay.
And I hate to put horses in that category, Chip, because, I'm a horse fan. So that horse isn't dead, but that subject surely is.
As far as I'm concerned.
Now we're done revisiting. We got Sip Sports Bar. And we had some great guests. We had Steel City Roller Derby. They were on, last guest.
Miss Freddie.
5 of them. Miss Freddie showed up. We had MMA guys. Greg Rudolph with his daughter, who's a survivor of cancer at 10 years old.
That was amazing.
She was on our show, just fantastic. Then we had another MMA guy, Kama Worthy. This guy, he's better than Chris Rock or any of these comedians that try to get on my show, and they know who they are. This guy is brilliant. He's an artist, and he paints in blood. It's a shame that we can't have that. We had a great lady come on our show that works at a salon in Shadyside, and Shelly Tate Smith. We can't show that. She was there on the show.
He must
We
be
had-
from Gateway.
Trapper Tom had a great Hall of Fame type of thing and mentioned that. I'm sure we'll see more publicity about it. It was just an awesome night. Smoking Jim's there 4 nights out of the week. Every Monday night is Pittsburgh Sports Line. Sunday night, I don't even know what their specials are because they keep changing them, Smoking Jim. And then Tuesday night is our favorite, Camp Petey's night, 50 cents a slice. Thanks to Dawn from Camp Petey's. Wednesday night, Smoking Jim, is it ladies' night or what is it there that night? What's your
Yay.
input?
Ladies' night.
Any specials there? Any food
I
specials?
think I'm not a drinker, but drink specials.
Okay.
Oh, they're
just
on
checking.
Smoking Jim Frazier, too. Wink, wink.
If you're a lady, and Thursday night,
Prove it.
25-cent wings. Friday, they got a huge fish. It's like 2 pieces of fish. They got entertainment, free parking, happy hour specials. Come on out. We had a packed house this Monday night, and it was just a great show. We'll hopefully get the next one up. We just had our 1-year anniversary at Sip Sports Bar, so come on out. It's gaining in popularity. We appreciate you guys
Happy anniversary,
coming
guys.
out. Yeah, and you too, buddy. Without you guys, we couldn't do it. Well, we didn't do it last night. Well, we did, but okay. That's it for that subject. One of our favorite segments and mine is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, Chip kind of inspired this one because Chip talked about Florida, and it's kind of cold here, even though I don't get hot or cold. But I thought maybe I'll give some of our viewing audience some warmer thoughts. So I'm going back down to Miami, Florida. And I tell you what, it's 1998, and it was my first Soul Bowl down there in the Orange Bowl game in Miami, Florida. And the reason that I went down there for my first Soul Bowl, and the Soul Bowl in Miami is a game that was played between Northwestern High School and Jackson High School, and it was always played in the Orange Bowl game. You get 50,000 fans to come out and watch. And the reason is because the University of Pittsburgh was recruiting the #1 running back in the country, and they said he was the best Florida running back since Emmitt Smith, and his name was Torrey Cox. So I went there, and after 5 minutes of watching the game, I was not impressed with Torrey. But I kept looking at number 80 for Northwestern High School. Of course, it was 2 traditionally all-black schools, and the band was great at halftime as
Who would've
well.
guessed
Little
it?
Z.
Who would've
But I
guessed
kept watching this number 80. He didn't catch that many passes, but the few passes he caught, like the patterns he run, it looked like he had pretty good size, about 6'2". So I went into the locker room after the game and talked to him, and talked a little Bonix with him. We got along real good, and the coach told me he had no scholarship offer. So I immediately called Walt Harris, who of course never heard of the guy. And I sold Walt Harris on the idea, and Walt Harris only had 1 scholarship left. And I says, hey, if you want to get players from Florida and you want to get Torrey Cox, bring another player in so he feels comfortable having one of his Floridians there.
Brilliant.
And so
Big
Walt
word.
Harris went for it, and the kid ended up coming to the University of Pittsburgh. He started right away, only played 3 years at Pitt, but he was a first-team All-American. He was a Blitnikoff Award winner, and his name was Antonio Bryan. Little-known fact. That's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's
All right.
Almanac.
I knew that's where you were going. Guys. I knew
Hey,
that's
thanks,
where you were
Jim.
going.
That was a good one, Smokey.
Yes, it was.
Luckily, you said Pitt. If you said anything else but Pitt, he wasn't in on that. Pitt is it. All right, now my other favorite segment here is.
Was there any soul food at the Soul Bowl?
Oh, brother.
Hey, we'll revisit this stuff in the Z segment. We're going to have to revisit everything that we talk about, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, or 10 things.
Hey, what's on their mind, I limited it to one thing. Some guys get multiple thoughts, and then I get yelled at because as we go through, I kept it to one thing.
As we got the Z segment, you're still on double secret probation, even though your fans keep contacting me. All right, Chip's trivia time.
All right, thank you, Alan. And, you know, I always like to try to make my trivia pertinent to what's going on in the sports world. And what's going on in Sochi, Russia right now? The Winter Olympics, or is that the Winter Olympics? I don't know. But just some trivia that Winter Olympic trivia that I've stumbled across. The top medal winners in the Winter Olympics history is the top medal winner, who's won the most medals of anybody, is from Norway, and his name's Bjorn Dahløe. He's won more medals than any other athlete. He's won 12. He won a total of 8 gold medals and 4 silver.
Wow.
Cross-country skier Raisa Smetania is the winningest woman medalist, taking 10 medals. 4 gold, 5 silver, 1 bronze. Leading American medal winner is Apollo Ono, who has won 8 medals, 2 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze in the short track speed skating. Speed skater Bonnie Blair is the winningest American woman medal winner. She's had 6 medals. She won 5 gold, 1 bronze. Only 2 countries south of the equator have ever won medals at the Olympic Winter Games: Australia and New Zealand. Only 4 athletes have won medals in both the Winter and Summer Olympics in history of the
Herschel
Olympics.
Walker.
Eddie Egan in the United States, he won the boxing gold medal at the 1920 Summer Olympics, and he won the gold medal in the 4-man bobsled in the 1932 Winter Olympics.
1932.
Jeez, taking
Wow.
it way back.
1920, he won the boxing gold. So I'm telling you
Wow.
what, that's a pretty amazing feat. Jacob Tulen Thams of Norway won the ski jumping gold in 1924 in the Winter Olympics, and the 8-meter yachting silver medal in the 1936 Olympics. This next woman here, her name is Christina Luding Rothenberger, not Roethlisberger, Rothenberger.
Rotten.
She won the speed skating gold at 500 meters in the 84 Winter Olympics, the 1,000 meter in the 88 Olympics, the silver at the 500 meters in the 88 Olympics, the bronze at the 500 meters in the 92 Olympics, and she won the match sprint cycling silver medal in the Summer Olympics. That's no, she's the only athlete to have won gold medal or medals in the Summer and Winter Olympics in the same year. Claire Hughes from Canada won the individual road race cycling bronze and individual time trial cycling bronze in the 1996 Summer, and the 5,000 meter speed skating bronze in the 2002 Olympics. One last thing I want to get on, because I know we need to get moving, but
No, we're okay right now.
we're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
The
Pull a good one out.
Okay, you want a good one?
Yeah.
In 1920 was the first year that hockey was considered an Olympic sport. Did you know that the Winter Olympics didn't start until 1924? So yes, what that means is in 1920, ice hockey was an Olympic summer sport. It was in the Olympic Summer
No
Games.
way.
I lie not. I lie not. But I found that to be quite an interesting thing, because you would think ice hockey is, it's a winter sport. Let's see here. And here's an interesting fact. 1998 was the last Olympics that the Soviet Union participated in, because the wall came down and they were gone. They still have the 3rd most Winter Olympic medals won out of any country in all time. Norway is number 1 Let me see who was number 2.
And I think Norway's leading right now, 11.
Oh, yeah, and
Soviet
they will
Union
lead.
was a superior race.
Not really, they lied. If you study history.
And
So were us
to speak,
Germans.
and to speak to Norway, Norway has more gold medals
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
won in the Winter Olympics than 100 countries have total medals won.
Really?
In the,
Oh, that's
the
a good-
Olympics.
Yeah, what's the difference?
So that's my,
got
you know,
this?
that's my little wrap
got
up
this?
there on the
You got-
Winter Olympics trivia. And you know, just so everybody knows where my friend Jim will be Thursday morning, 7:30. He'll be strapped to his TV set watching the American hockey team.
That's because he doesn't
I
sleep.
believe in miracles.
I'm glad we covered it.
We can all dream.
Hey, Z, we're going to have Z time on our show for the first time ever.
Really?
Oh,
We're going to
first.
showcase a little Z time since he's getting so abused on this show. You're allowed to rebut.
I don't think I'm getting abused, folks. You guys don't think I'm getting abused? I highly doubt it.
Hold it. Before I do that, to one of our friends, one of my new friends, I want to give a shout out to Easy E.
Oh, he was waiting too.
And I waited till now because he said he watches the show with his buddies and everything else. They're huge fans. Tell him where he's watching it at.
Bishop's Pizza,
Okay,
Whitaker.
definitely. If you want pizza tonight and you're not going to Campede's and you're near there, tell him Al Levine, the Talking Machine,
And that's
sent
over-
you to see Easy E.
That's over in West Mifflin, not Munhall, right?
Yeah. Whitaker.
Oh, it's still Z time here. We got the special edition. Go
You up
ahead.
there,
You
Monview?
can question Z.
He's in Monview?
It's literally 30 seconds away from Monview Heights projects. But to give you something, when he's talking about Monview Heights, my grandparents actually started a family in Monview back in the 1950s when it was a predominantly white community. So it's gone considerably downhill. Rest in peace to my grandparents.
Does that happen in neighborhoods? You know where I was born at. I don't have to tell you again.
Where were you born at?
Hill District.
105 Pride Street, right in the Hill District there, buddy.
In the heart of the Hill District.
Definitely. You can still see it now because it's underneath the emergency room of UPMC there, Mercy Hospital.
Man, I had a great joke last night too, folks, man, about comparing Smoking Jim Fraser's condition to Muhammad Ali. And you're never going to get to hear or see
No,
it.
you
So
can say
the
it now.
only way that you're going to get to hear or see it is you had to come out to the show last night. So happy birthday to Aaron Ward. Your parents were right there in the front row. Smoking Jim didn't even know.
No comment there because
That's
I
the
saw him
condition.
shaking hands.
That's the condition.
I saw him
And
shaking
if,
hands.
You know, before long, he's just gonna be walking around, man, like just with his arms on his side, man, shaking his head. Hopefully, his girls, man, carry him along.
You mean his harem? That harem.
We don't even know what that means. Al-Amin's been saying that for a long
You
time.
know what? Somebody please call in. 412-831-3304.
We also take donations too to the Smoking Jim Fraser Fund.
All right,
P.O. Box.
Z, I think you got your good time, your Z time in there. You can prepare next week for some Z time. And that doesn't mean for everybody to fall asleep, okay?
Listen, I don't
Nobody
think
can fall
anybody
asleep
falls
with
asleep.
him.
Nobody falls asleep.
Not yet. He's growing in popular demand. Matter of fact, he's going to Florida in a couple weeks due to popular demand.
Yes.
So he's going to be traveling for
Yep.
Pittsburgh Sports Line.
I'll be exclusively at the Daytona 500 too. The
I
big.
thought you was going to the Soul Bowl.
He didn't know where it's being played
Yeah, I
at this year.
didn't. Yeah, I just found out about the Soul Bowl. I'm gonna make my reservations.
All right,
tonight.
that's enough of that segment.
Love
We got a
Soul Food.
segment called Olympics, and I want to know, are any of you guys watching, except for Smoking Jim, you're ruled out of bounds on this one. Anybody watching the Olympics?
Every
Diane?
night.
Okay.
And unfortunately, you know, because of the time differential, you know, we're finding out the outcome of most of the events prior to,
Yeah.
you know,
Like I knew something.
They're filming, yeah. Like I already knew this morning on the way to work at 6 o'clock when I'm driving in that the curling team lost. I mean, I've been.
You've been bummed all day.
Oh, shoot! I'll tell you what. I'm just, you know, it's tragic.
Well, aside from that, though, picture this, though. You watched earlier during the day the coverage, and somebody wins the medal, but then they get you with, we'll tune in to prime time tonight, and we'll show you the medal presentation. So I don't even get to see the medal get presented, or the flag, or the national anthem. I have to tune back in, you know. You
Well,
fall
don't
asleep.
you think it's because of all the billions being spent there?
52 billion?
Well, you know.
Thanks, Devin Shea, for coming into our room.
You know, I mean, I just don't think this was really a well thought out plan, and it's terrible. I don't know. I mean, they got to find some way. And I mean, when you're 12 hours difference in the time from where they're at to where we're at, it's like, the Americans are going to be playing hockey at 7:30 in the morning on Thursday, So by 9:30, and you think you're going to keep that off the air, you're going to hear it somewhere over the course of your day.
Especially with how media has progressed and now everything. We got satellites.
Well,
and,
we got social media,
smart technology, social media. So there's almost no way.
There's no secrets there.
Correct. No secrets at all.
But do you watch it then when you know who won? Will you watch any of
Well,
those
what
events?
I try to do is I just try to ignore it and tune it out and watch it, and it's new to me, so that I don't know the outcome in most of the things,
Well, I mean, some of the things they're doing, like, when they were doing this, the slope style, the snowboarding, and you get the half pipe. I mean, regardless of already knowing the outcome, watching what some of these athletes do, it takes your breath away.
And
that's part of what I do.
Did you post how Shaun White lost his reign for
because
the medal?
I didn't want to do that.
Oh, okay. So if you go to Pittsburgh Sportsline, you can hear about how Shaun White blew it and tanked. But how he blew it and tanked is he went for a trick that is nearly impossible to do, and he has hurt himself a couple times leading up to the games, and he went for it and he fell. And it's a sport where if you fall, it's pretty much over, and it's
like one and done.
But
and the two kids that won were 18 and 16 years old from Japan that medaled on the gold and silver.
But you know what? You got to tip your hat to Shaun White, because you know what? He's already set the bar higher. The bar's set higher for him than it is for anybody else, okay? And really, for him to take the gold, he really had to do something that was going to make everybody stop, drop, and look. And,
he tried.
He
went
is the
for it,
snowboarding.
and, he rolled the dice.
Shaun White is the snowboarding. What Tony Hawk is with the skateboard, but Tony Hawk, the Olympics isn't consider, doesn't consider skateboarding a sport.
Right.
But Tony Hawk would have dominated the Olympics and skateboarding for a long time. But what happens is now though, it's time for the younger kids now. Shaun White's 27 years old. Tony Hawk is like 40 something. But Father
There's a
Time
passing
creeps
of the
in there.
torch.
Yeah, and the torch comes in. And you got these younger, more wild, crazy kids that you used to be. And
But
your
he
body can't.
created the buzz for that sport that made these young kids want to
Sure.
get into it.
They'll never take that away from him. But like I said,
And he's still competitive.
And you know
He
what? He doesn't diminish his legend or his legacy whatsoever that he didn't win the medal. If he would have won the medal trying to go the easy route and going safe, I'd have had less respect for him. I have more respect for him that he put it out there on the line, and he was either hit or miss. And he came up just a few inches short, but you know what? Hey, he tried. He gave it the effort.
Well,
He'll
I
be
got
back
late
in X
breaking
Games.
news for Smoking Jim. Lauren Williams, who you're a fan of, is on the bobsled team.
sled number 1 too.
And you can watch that now. So you do have a sport that you can watch,
And
buddy.
Lolo was running with her,
And
too.
I like Lolo. I like
See
some
that?
Lolo.
Yeah, she's.
There we go, Smoking Jim.
Uh-huh.
We have some Olympics for you. Take time out from watching those 2 films that you do every day.
Hey, and your buddy Yager was going to be playing tomorrow morning.
Really?
Yes.
When you're not
Once
sleeping?
Smoking Jim gets in the roots, there's no turning it off, man. Kunta and Kizzy, man, he's riveted. Even though he knows what happens, it's still new to him every February, man. Like,
Oh, thanks for that little update. I didn't realize he's still watching that same VHS or whatever it is, that cassette tape that he has.
How
Yeah.
far back that
Nah,
goes.
he didn't have one of those. He didn't believe in that technology. Hey, the other thing, we have a Pitt basketball team here in the ACC. They've been pretty competitive. They haven't closed out on the better teams, and I'm hopeful that they can start scoring a little better here and playing. They play nice defense. We need that offense at the end,
Well,
and no
yeah.
more apples there.
They're playing the number 1 ranked Syracuse Orangemen. And the odd thing I heard on the way here this evening is that, Jim would know this because he knows more about from Macaroni Tony, but that Pitt's favored by 2 points over Syracuse.
You can't be serious.
And yeah, they are. And the reason being is that Pitt generally plays very well at home, and they're playing Syracuse here. And on top of that, they generally play very well against Syracuse. Now, here is what my problem is with the Pitt basketball team right now. right now, Pitt's team has trouble. They're having difficulty scoring. Now, they struggled, went to overtime against two teams they should have beaten fairly handily. Okay? So now, you look at the teams, there is not a single team with an RPI of higher than 50 that Pitt has beat this year. Pitt won 2 games last week, and they're still stuck at 25th in the coaches poll because nobody's got confidence in their ability to beat a better team.
Tell me this, Chip. Who, other than Lamar Patterson, they don't really have anybody that's creative or can create. So anytime Lamar Patterson has an off night, it's trouble. And Zana has kind of taken a step back. Like I thought he came out the season strong, he's kind of faded a little bit. They've gotten a little weak on the boards. They've been turning over the ball a lot, and and their free throws. They haven't been hitting their free throws.
And that's so critical in the ACC because of the ticky-tack calls that you get. This isn't the Big East, and that makes a difference.
And Jamie Dixon has had the same problem with his teams year in and year out. And here's what the thing is. In the month of February, okay, this is when your team is supposed to be getting better, getting ready for tournament time, March Madness, And here's what's happening with the Pitt basketball team. They started out the season against a bunch of marshmallows and ran all over them and looked pretty good. Now they're playing better competition, and their team is not progressing. They have kind of stagnated, and now when they need, they absolutely have to rely on Lamar Patterson. Well, if Lamar Patterson isn't completely on, then Pitt has absolutely no chance. The rest of the team should have been able to learn to play as a team and step up their game, play better defense, and I don't see the Pitt team getting better as the year's going on. That's why I say that they, when they do make the tournament, and they will make the NCAA tournament this year, I hate to say this, they're going to be
at what seed?
They're going to be a very low seed. They're
11.
going to get bounced in the first round.
There you go. You got his prediction again.
I agree.
I'm
I
just
mean, I
hoping
hate
they
to
make
say
the
that.
tournament.
And nobody would like to see a national championship banner in the Peterson Event Center more than me, but I just don't see it happening.
Well, they already won one CBA national championship.
Yeah, but they had to buy their way into that.
I
right?
think the
Did
ship,
they have to buy their own
the
trophy?
ship has
They
potentially
didn't get a trophy.
sailed on that boat for the time being on winning a national championship. They had some guys that came in, and they had a kid that won from Adams,
New Zealand,
New
yeah.
Zealand.
Steve Adams.
He was a lottery pick. Couldn't get over the hurdle. You had the Warren Blair. They had some great teams. And they
Julius
still
Page.
Julius Page. They still couldn't get
Sam
over.
Young.
They couldn't get over the hurdle. So I don't know what the answer.
Well, Gateway had 3 Division I
Who?
basketball players a couple years ago, and
Who?
they didn't recruit
Who?
any of them. So they deserve what they're
Were you
getting.
an
Who
owl?
were they?
But
You-
but
were you an
but yeah. But here's
Is
why
this
don't
the wrath of Gateway?
But can we give
The
credit?
curse.
Can we give credit where credit is due? These
Where?
professional athletes.
Let's hear it first.
These professional
This is
athletes.
suspect.
These
This is very suspect
These
tonight. I don't
professional
trust.
athletes
Yeah.
take a lot of credit, and when you get a natural-born leader that steps up, that happens to be a quarterback for your franchise, Big Ben Roethlisberger is buying a K9 dog and donating it to the police. So give a big hand
Time out.
for Big Ben.
I got late breaking news for you.
That was a segment too, probably.
Hold it. He come to Pittsburgh, and do you know what charitable organization he started when he first came here?
Canines
No.
for cops.
Canines for Cops.
Really?
And you've been with the Steelers, my
Wow.
friend. I knew that.
He probably had a picture
They
with
keep-
him
He's
and
been
Rocco.
buying dogs, and that's
But
great
They keep
because of
smoking Jim
But
Frazier
Jim-
in the dark.
And you know what he's done? He's gone
All
ahead
the
and
time.
He's bought police dogs for every city that he's played in. He's
Really?
donated. He's donated money to
there's
get
a whole new
police
world
dogs.
out there.
Yes, he's just for every city that he's played in. And to be honest with you, after Rocco passed away and all that, I was waiting. I just knew that Roethlisberger was going to step in and
I didn't know that.
you
That's
know.
what he does.
But,
That's his foundation.
When that story came out yesterday, and I got a smile on my face, and I was just like, yeah, I was waiting for him to do it because it's the right thing to do, and you know what?
And it is a great thing to do, but
Oh,
smoking
absolutely.
Jim, this isn't the first time. For you, it is, and
Right.
I respect that.
I think the kid's taking a little bit too much heat for killing Rocco because the kid he has mental issues, and nobody's talking about that. The kid, he really should be in a
Well,
mental
listen,
institution.
I disagree. Cut whatever he just said. Cut. Change the channel. Come back real quick. All right, listen. Retarded or not, sorry, mentally, whatever.
You know what? This all needs
Listen,
cut. Let's change to
listen,
something else
listen,
here.
this
What's
kid-
going on?
This kid was a criminal, but I think it is a natural reaction, though. If anybody knows about dogs, and the German Shepherd, they have so much force in their jaws, though. So if it's biting you, it's a natural reaction. I would take a vase, anything, a hammer, a hatchet. Like if the dog is biting you, it's a natural reaction to want to hit the dog.
But what Jim was speaking about, and this is a whole other issue for another show and another format.
We're going to do another show.
But the mental health issues are something that need to be addressed.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
That's in society. But here's the thing. It doesn't make it right to kill an animal, a person, or anything else.
No, it doesn't.
That is a problem.
No, it doesn't.
What's the Bible say? You're a very religious man. I think one of the 10 Commandments, you got to go by that first.
Thou shalt not.
Now, I'm no judge or jury.
Well, there's some countries that eat dogs.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about there, but you know what? We're going to.
Can I say one thing? And
can say whatever you want because
I'll
tonight.
change the subject. And this is a plug for Gateway.
Oh,
Then you can't say it.
And I have a great veterinarian
Pittsburgh Sportsline first.
And I hate to see wasted talent. And I know this kid's mom. And
Pray for him. Then.
Let's pray for the family of the quarterback from Woodland Hills.
Yes, sir.
Because, like I said before,
But he's another one though. He did something last year, and he hasn't learned his lesson.
well, I think the mercy of the court was on him because of his talent. Because if he was anybody else, he'd have been in jail last year. But these kind of things don't happen to kids from Gateway. So that's all I want to say.
Because, folks, you can't even name a kid
There we
from
go.
Gateway.
We got
Name me
Buccos.
one kid from Gateway.
We got Buccos, you guys.
You can't even
How
name
about some
anybody from
Bucco
Gateway.
talk
But
spring
you
training?
can name
So
a person from
Zing.
Gateway.
Bucko talk about spring training. Here's
It's here,
here's some
upon
of the
us.
things that I'm excited about. You got Gregory Polanco. Okay, he's a legitimate 5-tool athlete. He played winter ball. He won the MVP award for winter ball. Had a 340 batting average, hit for power, hit for average, played great outfield. They say that he should be up on the big team by June. He's going to get a chance to earn a position on the squad.
Why June, Chip? Could you tell the folks at home why we won't see, Jameson?
Well, you know what, Zach? That depends on how he performs in spring training and how he handles major league pitching.
But is there some kind of roster exemption or something that takes place in June?
Generally, there's I'm trying to think of what the word for it is. There are certain things they will get an extra year of eligibility on their arbitration. If they bring them up early, they lose a year. If they bring them up later in the year, they save a year, and they have one more year of him being arbitration eligible. The next thing I want to talk about is Jameson Taillon. And Jameson Taillon, he and Jarrett Cole were both #1 draft picks by the Pirates. Here's Jameson Taillon. He's got a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he's got a big league curveball. And he only made it up to AAA in the end of the year last year. And statistically, his wins and losses weren't great, but he had a great ERA, great strikeout-to-walk ratio. But what they want him to work on the first half of this year against more major league caliber batters is they want him to develop his changeup. The Pittsburgh Pirates coaching staff are a very firm believer in developing a strong changeup, giving him a third pitch that he can use when he gets to the major league level. Because I can tell you this, major league batters, they can all hit 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. And, once they've seen your curveball a few times, they're going to figure out the spin on it, and they're going to get the bat on the ball. But really, how you keep the batters on their heels is throwing off-speed pitches. The changeup is a great pitch to throw. Throw it with the same motion that you do your fastball.
Talking about pitching, do you think A.J. Burnett, they should even give him $14 million, $15 million? Because I'm against it.
Nobody signed him yet, so maybe.
You know what?
I don't think they should give him that type of money,
Maybe
like I've said
Can they
before.
get some more subsidies?
But
No,
here's
it's all
what the
over.
thing is. I mean,
Glad you remembered
either
that.
the Pirates are going to sign him or they're not going to sign him. I don't know what numbers are being bandied about because I am very glad to hear that they're negotiating with A.J. Burnett and his people. They're not negotiating in the press, because that turns things into a big mess. I know that the Pirates want to have A.J. Burnett back,
Right.
and I know Clint Hurdle wants him back. Members of the pitching staff want him back, and the rest of his teammates.
But I think it's for
what
$14
price?
million.
Well, you know what? And we don't know. We can only
right.
speculate.
What's a fair market price to you, Chip? I feel $14 million is too high. I feel 10. would be a good discount.
Great leader. Great
but,
leader.
but see, Zach, here's what the thing is. I can offer an opinion, but see, I don't know what all the dynamics are. It's easier for you and I to say, oh, he's worth $10 million, he's worth $14 million. You know what? He's worth worth what somebody's willing to pay for him. Okay, but he does bring a lot.
He wants 14. He has been out there. He hasn't got 14 yet. So apparently nobody else is biting.
Do we know that? Because that is what some sports writers have guessed.
Or is it because of the years?
Because that was the tender offer that the Pirates could have offered him. So everybody is using that as a. We don't know this.
Was that 1 year or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
But he wants 2 years.
They could have got a draft pick too.
Zach, we don't know any of this. We're guessing. Okay, because they're not negotiating in the paper. We're going to find out, and I'll tell you what, a decision will be made sooner before later. And hey, if he signs with us, I'll be happy. And if he goes on to somewhere else, I'm behind the team that's here because I think they still have the ability to win without him.
Well, do you think with how some of these rating services, they've been giving the Pirates an F? They even gave the Reds a low number, and they gave St. Louis an A+ or an A for what the moves they've made.
And
so, I mean, some of it, these are other sources that aren't in Pittsburgh, and they're saying just looking at it in general, and they go, the Pirates normally don't make a move, don't want to spend the money early in the year anyhow.
Right.
And they said this year they expected them, national people expected them to do something to keep the energy that they created here with their plan working, so that's why they gave them an F.
I don't want to see another 20 years.
But that being said,
You're going to make it.
what was the grade they gave him before last year?
Isn't that a movie 20 years
The
ago?
same thing.
Okay, so
That's
you know
my
what?
point. That's
So,
what I was
see,
saying. They don't
because-
expect anything, and that's what they get from the Pirates.
But see, because here's what the thing is: they've got a plan, and they're going to stick to it, regardless of what anybody else thinks they should do. So far, you look at what they've done over the last 3 years. They've gotten better. Now they've got the hardest job of all. Getting to the point where they got last year was the easy part. Staying there, that's when the work begins. And so now we're going to see what happens, and I'm going to enjoy the ride.
Well, I'm a Pirate fan, like I've said, for a long time. I'd like to see them get 90 wins or high 80s this year. They need to do a few things, and some players have to perform. Again, this is speculation. There's a big word called if. When you bring these young players in, are they going to do well? If they do, they'll bring them up.
I got the Pittsburgh Power this year.
I wish I could harness your
Are they playing
gentleman's
baseball?
enthusiasm
Yep.
for baseball.
We're talking baseball.
Because on this side of the room, man, it's football on this side. I wish I had a
That's okay. Because Alan says that he's like 88, 90 wins. He hopes they get to 94. I'm going to go way off the other end. What about 100? Huh?
I'll take that bet. I'll take the bet. I won't even hold.
Hey,
Hey, we only got a minute to go.
I
got a
like
dream,
Syracuse
go
with the
big.
two.
Go
I like
big.
Syracuse with
Heavy
the two.
money.
You know what? Heavy money's coming out. I got $1. I got some heavy
I
money.
got some skin on that one.
$1, they don't
Oh,
get
yeah,
that.
folks.
Whoa. I'll put $1.
There it is.
I'll collect it at the end of the year.
I'll collect it before the end of
And
the
I'll claim
year.
that on my tax return.
I'll collect it before the end of the year because once they get
Yeah, I
that
need
magic
about
number.
999 more.
Well, we're almost out of time, folks. I can't kick it off to my friends here and co-hosts. I hope you enjoyed the show. Some of it was even controversial. Well, not really for me, but I understand what they're talking about. It's an emotional subject. Many of the things they bring up. I'm talking football and baseball right here. So thanks for watching the show. Thanks for liking us on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube 24/7. Thanks to Little Z reminding me. Verizon 32 everywhere. Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. Thanks for all the Bethel Park people watching our show. Watch us next week. Come to Sip Sports Bar. Thank you.